The lie is that success will lead to happiness. That once you get the dream job, you make 6 figures, you buy the house, you find the right person, well then, finally, you'll feel happy. But what if we've had that relationship between success and happiness backwards for all of this time? What if happiness is not the reward for success, but what if happiness is the foundation for true success? So if you give me the next 10 or so minutes of your time, I'm going to flip your thinking on its head. I'll show you the psychology, the stats, the real life examples that prove that happiness doesn't follow success, but that success follows happiness. Now, this is what psychologists call the hedonic treadmill. It's the pattern where we keep chasing goals thinking that they'll make us happy, and they do, but only for a tiny fraction of time. Think about an example that you may have experienced in your life. You've landed a new job. So you're stoked for maybe a week or a month, and then you start wondering what the next promotion looks like. Or you buy a new car and you can't wait to drive it home. You're so excited about it. You're washing it every week. You're looking after it. And then you blink, and before you know it, it's just another car. And you park it next to someone who's got an even newer one. You start comparing. You feel bad about it. The thing that once contributed to your happiness now seems to take away from your happiness. This is the thing with human beings. We adapt, and we adapt so quickly. That's why happiness always seems to feel like it's one achievement away. Harvard psychologist Tal Ben-Shahur puts it like this: we assume happiness is the result of success, but the reality is that success often leads to stress, burnout, and disappointment if it's not supported by happiness, if it's not fueled by happiness. Well, this sounds familiar. To be honest, I've been there too. I have lived that life. I spent years thinking, once I fix this part of the business, once I grow this, once I change this part of my body, once I hit that milestone, then I'll feel better. But what I noticed is I'd set these milestones for happiness, and the closer I got to them, the further they moved. I see this not only in myself, but in so many of the people I've been fortunate enough to coach and mentor over the years. So if we're not going to hinge our happiness on success, because let me promise you, I've met people who are remarkably successful, and I now believe deep down that success at the cost of happiness is the greatest and most common form of failure in life. Can I tell you how many people I've met who are remarkably successful in their career, remarkably successful financially? They have no relationship with their kids. Their marriage is in shambles. Their physical health's all over the place. They don't feel fulfilled. They don't feel content with their life. That, my friends, is failure. And it happened because they thought that eventually happiness would show up once they hit the next milestone. I don't want you to make that mistake. So if we're not going to pursue happiness as an outcome of success, then what ideally should we do? Well, this is where Shawn Achor comes in. Shawn Achor is a great happiness researcher, someone I look up to in my field, someone I'm grateful to have learned from by consuming his content, reading his great book called The Happiness Advantage, which I highly recommend. It's the best. In the book, The Happiness Advantage, Shawn Achor presents decades of research that shows happiness actually comes before success, not the other way around. There's a bit of a highlight and snapshot of the data, but I do encourage you to read the whole book. He found that happier employees are 31% more productive. So often workplaces go, well, when we're more productive and when we achieve more, then we'll get more pay rises and more promotions, and then people will be happier. No, when we look after our people, when people are happy and fulfilled at work, they're more productive, they're more impactful. They also had 37% higher sales. When people were happier, they sold more than unhappy salespeople. I can't think of an industry so hinged on the happiness treadmill as much as sales, where so much of people's sense of self-worth and accomplishment and achievement and impact and contribution is tied to next quarter's goals. I've seen entire sales teams and salespeople hit their goals and milestone and feel good for like 3 minutes, and they're setting the next target rather than celebrating. He also found that happy people are 3 times more creative, and that doctors who were primed to feel happy made more accurate diagnoses in people nearly 20% faster. Happiness really is a superpower. It is a hack to not only feeling better, obviously if you're happy you feel better in life, but to performing better and thereby making better decisions and increasing your likelihood of success. In case you're wondering whether this is just a fluke or a mindset trick, it's not. This has been consistently shown across studies in education, in healthcare, in business, and even in sports. So when we cultivate happiness first, we don't just feel better, we perform better. That's the main thing to learn from this. If happiness, like I say it now, like if happiness were a pre-workout, if we could just give people something that would make them remarkably happier, that's legal and has no side effects before you start commenting, it would be banned by most sporting organizations. The NBA wouldn't allow it because it gives people such a competitive edge. Now, before you start rolling your eyes and saying things like, Declan, this just sounds like toxic positivity dressed up in a different suit. Look, let's be clear. This is not about pretending everything's fine when it's not. Happiness, true happiness, is not just about feeling good all the time or feeling quote unquote joy all the time. If you watch a previous video I did on changing our definition of happiness, which I'll pop a link in the description for this video, I expanded on how happiness is an umbrella term and we're able to experience in a bunch of different ways, different chapters of life. So even when we're going through tough times, we can find happiness in some form or another, but it may not be the main primary emotion that we're feeling then. We don't want more people out there saying that we have to think positive thoughts all the time and we have to feel good all the time. That's had its era. I'm sick of the Instagram influencers promoting toxic positivity and just positive thinking and affirmations and manifestations as the path to a happy life. That's not how it works. I'm not about good vibes only. I'm about science and evidence. This is more about learning proven psychological skills that train your brain for resilience, that train your brain for optimism, and that train your brain for growth. It's about upgrading your mindset, upgrading your relationship with your emotions, upgrading, I guess, your software, like how you think and feel, so that you can thrive even in the face of setbacks and challenge. It's not about ignoring setbacks and challenge and pretending they don't exist. It's about learning how to adapt, because let's face it, the reality of life is it's going to throw curveballs. It's going to give you challenges and tribulations, but a well-trained brain that is focused on learning and mastering the skills and science of happiness is so much better at hitting back and addressing these curveballs and rising to the occasion and even getting better from challenge rather than being beaten by challenge. So I hope at this point in the video, you're already thinking, okay, great, happiness helps. How do I become happier? What are the actual steps that I can take to begin building happiness? Now, look, I'm going to tell you straight up, there's no way in one YouTube video I can share with you all of the skills and science of happiness. At my social enterprise, BU Happiness College, we teach 70 distinct skills of happiness. But if I were to recommend 3 research-backed micro skills that you can start with, that you can go, okay, happiness matters more than success. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life pursuing success in the hope that it brings happiness. I'm instead going to focus on learning and mastering the skills and science of happiness and let that breed success. I would start with these 3 skills. First and foremost, gratitude. Learn to find the good in the day. 5 minutes a day of just writing down 3 things that went well, that you're grateful for. This is such a well-researched. It's found that it can increase long-term happiness by over 10%. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but if I said to you, hey, there's a sports drink or a supplement that you can take that boosts your long-term happiness in life by 10%, people would queue up to buy that thing. Instead, I'm telling you, hey, this is free to do. It just takes 5 minutes of your time each day. It's amazing how many people won't do it because it takes a bit of effort. But if you're someone who's like, I'm not looking for the silver bullet, I don't want the immediate fix all, I'm willing to do the work to become happier, this is a great way to start. 5 minutes each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for, why you're grateful for them. I'll do a future video on that to unpack it further. Second one, be kind to others. Take part in altruism and giving back and undertaking random acts of kindness. There's so much to be said about if you want to be happier, help other people become happier. When we do kind things for other people, not only do we make an impact on their happiness, but we actually experience a boost in serotonin in our brain. It turns out that being a decent human being actually feels good and is really good for you. So in a world of self-help that often focuses on this is what you need to do to become happier yourself, I think we often lose the conversation of, hey, a great way to become happier is to contribute to the happiness of others, provided you're not doing it to the point of burnout or overwhelm, or you're doing it because you feel socially obliged to. You need to do it from a place that feels genuine, and you need to make sure that you've got something in the cup to be able to pour from the cup. We cannot pour from an empty cup. It's not about just sacrificing your needs to help others. You need to look after yourself and give back and be altruistic. And the third little tip I'd give you is move. Move your body. 30 minutes of exercise has been shown to be as effective as some antidepressants for mild and moderate depression. It is such an underrated thing. And I don't care how you move, by the way. You can lift weights, play sport, go for a walk, whatever feels right to you. Do yoga, whatever feels right. But when you move your body, it does help stimulate neurochemicals and the hormones in our body that help with happiness. Now, those 3 tips I'm just giving you, they don't cost anything. You don't necessarily need some guru guiding the way. You just need a bit of consistency and practice over time. Of course, it's useful to have an expert who can guide you and keep you accountable and point out your blind spots, to have someone who can tailor the journey and make it personalized to you. If that's something that you're seeking, feel free to check out the link in the description of this video and you can find out more about what it means to enroll at BU Happiness College and what's involved with working with a personal happiness coach. But if that's not something that you're looking for, you can also just start with what you have. Start prioritizing happiness over success now. Let success follow. So if I was to leave you in this video with a takeaway, please, please, please don't waste your life chasing success to get happy. It doesn't work. I know there's part of the brain that goes, it will work if I just make more money or solve all my problems. That's not how it works. What's the classic saying? More money, more problems. Like, you just have different problems then. So you've just got to learn how to manage your mind and emotions more effectively. I say just like it's easy, but we do need to focus on managing our mind and emotions more effectively if we want to be happier. Don't chase success to get happy. Get happy to create success. Because at the end of the day, if you feel better in yourself and in your mind, you will do better. Guaranteed, you'll make better decisions. You'll take better risks. You'll bounce back from setbacks faster. This isn't fluff. This is neuroscience. It's psychology. It is your competitive advantage in the world. And if you do want to learn those skills to build a happier, more fulfilling life, as I said, it's literally what we teach inside BU Happiness College. Check the link to find out more. But whether you join us or not there, please remember this. Happiness is not the cherry on top of life. It's not the end goal. It is the foundation of life. Because what is the point of life if not to live a happy and fulfilling life? Now, if this video flipped your thinking at all, if it challenged your notions about success and happiness, if it made you start questioning and maybe redefining what happiness and success look like on your terms, then please support the channel by liking and subscribing, share it with someone else who needs to hear it. Leave a comment with your key takeaway from this, because in the next video, I'm going to answer some people's questions if they're there, or I'm going to be diving in and answering a big question that I get asked very regularly, which is, can money buy happiness? And little spoiler alert, yes, it can, but it depends on how you spend it. And I'll be revealing more in the next video. So stay tuned, stay subscribed, and stay focused on your happiness. See you next time.